think will help reignite a few thunderstorms later on tonight. Our storm threat lasts all the way through 2 a.m. That's our primary threat zone is now through 2 a.m. Yes, there will be a break from time to time, but the primary threat is all the way through to 2 a.m. Okay, this is another way to look at the threats that are out there in terms of the hail. This, I don't even know, this brightest purple color near Leon Valley. That's the largest hail within this storm, and that's what's drifting off to the east and southeast. And unfortunately, the folks down at Travis Park at Fiesta Fiesta having to scramble for cover and make it indoors and go to a safe place. You are safe in your vehicle from lightning. Keep that in mind. You are safe inside your vehicle when it comes to lightning. Before we go 3D, I'm going to time out this entire storm for locations downstream. Now, it's just severe for most of Bexar County and even just up into southwestern Comal County, just south of New Braunfels. We're talking even the just north of Rolling Oaks Mall as you get into basically near the racetrack there, right near the racetrack. Anyway, let's plot this out. Heading eastward, this thunderstorm, it may not still be as strong when it makes it to these locations, but nonetheless, you can expect this storm or whatever's left of it, whatever state it's still in, to make it to China Grove at 7:04. Right now, China Grove, it's moving in as we speak. Bracken at 7:08, Universal City at 7:09, Schertz at 7:11, and Clemens High School at 7:12. Hey, Mia, do you mind switching that over to 2 priority on the storm tracks? Yes. Okay, thank you. That'll filter out some of those cities there. In the meantime, I'm going to show you our Futurecast and show you what you can expect here going forward in time. There's the latest run of our Futurecast. Notice how well it initializes at 7 p.m. with that thunderstorm moving in. And that storm likely to move out and change a bit, but then at that same time, the cold front's coming in from the north, and that cold front could very well redevelop showers and even severe thunderstorms later on tonight. We still have that threat through 2 a.m. as that cold front moves on in. So that's what we're looking at, unfortunately, with this situation. Even though one may pass, we could still have a few more developing, and then we have a lot to get to when it comes to changes out there. Here we go. I'm just changing this, and boom, 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 boom. Okay, there we go. And then tomorrow, generally quiet. Generally quiet. I don't anticipate any issues tomorrow. You saw that 20% chance of a stray shower. That's all we have. Nothing severe expected for tomorrow. What we have right now, this is severe, and I'm going to re-put some of these cities on there so we can know when they'd make it to some areas that are a little bit farther away. A little bit farther away in terms of your distance from this storm. Even if it's not severe when it makes it to your neighborhood, still good to know when you could anticipate it to arrive. So here we go. That would be Seguin at 7:39, Lavernia at 7:26, Santa Clara at 7:21, Schertz at 7:10, Garden Ridge at 7:09. There you have it. So if you're in New Berlin, 7:25, you can expect the leading edge of this storm to get there. Again, I'm not saying it's going to be damaging at that time, but this thunderstorm is going to make it to you at that time. It's getting loud outside the KSAT 12 studios because of all this lightning. And with our technology, we can get right down here into downtown where people have been gathering at Travis Park. And if I put it at an angle, you see all these lightning strikes, cloud to ground lightning strikes, not far from Travis Park. Travis Park, right about here. This is basically Travis Park right in this area, okay? So that's Travis Park where our crews have been, and looks like little pockets of maybe non-damaging but definitely hail around it, and of course the lightning strikes. And look at all those lightning strikes popping up. Boom, boom, boom. See, the nearest strike within the past 15 minutes was just 1.2 miles away from Travis Park, where everybody was outside gathering. Not everybody, but a lot of people were outside gathering for Fiesta Fiesta. And I know Fiesta Fiesta officially kicks off at 8 p.m. and there could be a little gap in our storm activity at that time. However, it's going to take a little while for this to move out. I'm going to track the back edge of this storm and when you can expect it to end. And I know sometimes folks get scared, and especially pets do too, when these thunderstorms hit. That's totally normal. I'm going to track the back edge of it and let you know when it will be past your neighborhood. So this is something I like to do. Let's draw the line on the back side of the storm. Same forward speed, okay? The back edge of the storm should be through UTSA at 7:14. So that's pretty soon, actually. UTSA, we got minutes. Clark High School at 7:18. Chavano Park, it should start wrapping up at 7:21. Medical Center start wrapping up at 7:23. I'm going to draw this a little different way as well. So this part of the storm, that's moving out of Helotes at the moment. It's moving out of Helotes and headed eastward. The back edge of it will get to Castle Hills at 7:25. Hollywood Park, the back edge at 7:28. Reagan High School neighborhood at 7:28 p.m. as well. And again, that is the backside of this storm. Another thing we have to consider is on the roadways, the rainfall. I know hail and winds we've been talking about could be a rogue gust up to 60 miles per hour, and especially wind gusts around 50 miles per hour. Now remember, it needs to be 58 miles per hour or more to be considered severe and or 1-inch diameter hail. And so far, we only have the reports of hail to verify this severe thunderstorm opposed to the wind speeds, unless we have new wind speeds that have come in.
I'm just piggybacking off of the hail. National Weather Service meteorologists are monitoring this storm too through Bexar County, and they did just pop on our chat that we have with them, and they are seeing that the hail size cycle is now coming down to about quarter size with this particular storm.
Yeah, so as it changes a little bit, constantly morphs. And we're talking about that. It doesn't look as organized right now, but still some quarter-size hail mixed in with some of the other hailstones that we have in there. This is moving through. This is producing some heavy rain, a lot of lightning, a lot of thunder, some swirling winds, of course, and maybe a rogue gust up to 60 miles per hour. But remember, if you have some loose patio furniture, especially those umbrellas and the patio tables and trampolines in backyards, it doesn't take much to get those airborne and lift them up and around. So what I'm saying is, if this storm is headed your way in Schertz, Seguin, New Braunfels, you still have some time to take care of that. And even around Lavernia, you still have a little bit of time before that storm would get to you. Speaking of Lavernia, those of you watching us in Lavernia, we're going to give you an estimated time of arrival of the front edge of this storm. I know you can see it and hear it, and it's not that far away. The first little bit of rain, 7:35 p.m. Lavernia, that's about 14 miles away. This storm is taking on a bit of a different structure, and it's also dumping some very heavy rainfall. So let's look at the rain rates within this storm, because we were saying earlier it was on the order of about 7 to 8 inches per hour within the storm. There you go. These purples and especially whites, that's the heaviest rainfall. The heaviest rain. And you get around the Medical Center, I-10 Crossroads, 7.3, 7.8 inches per hour, 7.5 inches per hour. That's some very heavy rainfall. So I anticipate not necessarily big flooding, but where there's construction, especially around 1604 and other parts of town, and in your neighborhood where you get, collection and ponding of water pretty easily, anticipate it, because this is coming down at such a heavy rate.
And on the western portions of Bexar County, starting to see there could be a few issues for low water crossings, like you were talking about, those common trouble spots, issues, areas that we typically find those issues first, just because of the heavy rain rates associated with this.
Yes, and you'll have that ponding of water in some of those low areas, the actual rainfall amounts, and it's still raining in these areas, but you look at 1604 near Highway 16, and that's 2.1 inches already. Around Taft High School, 2.8 inches of rain. Leon Valley, 2.2 inches of rain. And remember, it's still coming down. The rain is still falling in those areas. I gave you the back edge of it is moving toward Leon Valley, and the hail structure now is really scattered about, but mostly around Medical Center to Leon Valley to Holmes High School to Jefferson High School. Quarter-size hail mixed within there, but it's not as defined of a signature in terms of that hail, but the entire structure of this thunderstorm has definitely changed shape. Notice how it's getting a little bit of that curved look that looks a little bit more like a comma as it's heading eastward. We'll watch for this thunderstorm to organize into something even bigger. Nonetheless, the primary threat is still some straight line winds and especially the development of further hail. So this is headed eastward. It's moving out of Hazardous. It's still moving through Alamo Ranch, but Alamo Ranch, you're starting to see the back edge of it out of Bernie, out of Fair Oaks Ranch. Okay, that's the back edge. Timberwood Park, you're getting clipped by it. Even Camp Bullis, you're still within the heavy rain getting hit by it, but the Rim, Camp Bullis, UTSA, right on schedule. We're saying about 7:14 p.m. The back edge, there it is. Leon Valley, the back edge is just about there. SeaWorld, it's about to come to an end. A little bit of hail here down near 90 and 410. That's just south of SeaWorld, and about the Alamo Ranch area. Still some heavy rain behind the main thunderstorm that stretches back to Rio Medina. Otherwise, the leading edge on the south side here, notice how there's this little gap, but that's going to be filled in from Lackland all the way toward Columbia Heights, Mission San Jose, Mission San Juan. This whole area is going to be filled in as this storm treks eastward. Luckily for you on the south side here, especially closer to the Missions, the hail is generally to the north of you, but you could still get some of those swirling winds out there as well, and the noticeable thunderstorm winds. So this is what we have with the hail generally scattered around it now. A few quarter-size, 1-inch diameter hailstones embedded within that activity, and that has put a delay on our coverage of Fiesta Fiesta. The back edge of it, we've got our crews at Fiesta Fiesta, which is right here, that N on San Antonio. And the back edge of it is still a good 14 and a half miles away, 14 and a half miles away. And that's going to take some time for that back edge to move through San Antonio, the downtown portion of San Antonio. This part of the back edge, that's at SeaWorld. That's not going to make it through downtown area. Well, let's say Jefferson High School, 7:35 p.m. Lone Star Brewery, the old Lone Star Brewery at 7:38 p.m. So we still have a bit of time for that back edge to move through those areas.
Okay, I just briefly do want to touch on a couple of things, specifically when it's coming to the rain right now, because we're starting to get some pictures into KSAT Connect, especially near the 1604 and Military Drive area. A lot of that rain is now starting to build up, and that is causing issues out there on the roadways. We do have a flash flood warning that has been issued for the northern half of Bexar County. That's going to run through 10 p.m. tonight. And also, folks over at the National Weather Service are stressing now that one of the main bigger threats with this particular thunderstorm moving through Bexar County is going to be the potential to find some flash flooding issues on those area roadways. So again, we do have a flash flood warning that is in place for the northern half of Bexar County, along with, of course, the hail issues that we've been monitoring and the gusty winds and the lightning. With this particular warning, they are saying between 1 and 2 inches of rain have already fallen. Additional rainfall amounts of 1 to 3 are certainly possible in that warned area. And there, Adam just pulled that up. This is one of the photos that we have gotten into KSAT Connect, and you can see, yes, this is the 1604 and Military Drive area where we are starting to see that buildup and water issues on the roadways, Adam.
And here's an interesting point. Remember I said those construction zones? That's a construction zone.
Exactly.
They are often prone to flash flooding. So often they are. And this is one of those construction zones, 1604 and Military near that 7-Eleven and Academy and whatnot. There you have it. Okay, we've got some video out of Hazardous. Let's take a look at this video out of Hazardous. And this is a hail video that came in a little while ago. Looks like mostly dime, nickel size hail, but embedded within there you could have some quarter size hail.
And we do have some crews that are headed out safely, of course, to kind of just get a look at the situation as well. So once we hear from them, we can, of course, bring you that too.
All right, so that's what we have that just moved through Hazardous. So Hazardous, that threat has passed. Keep in mind, that threat has passed. That was previous hail that fell, not current hail that is falling at the moment. Go back to our KSAT Connect, and we do have photos from hail. This is near Culebra, so about 1604 in Culebra area, I believe. And we don't have a coin on there, but that's probably about the size of quarters. And one thing that stands out to me in this photo is when you have that really clear ice, the clear hailstones with the clear water, that's usually more durable hail, meaning it's more apt to cause damage because it doesn't have all those little air pockets in it like you don't have here. Clear ice is always stronger than cloudy ice. So when you get the clear ice, the hail could be a little bit smaller, but still very problematic. Hold on, I'm gonna go back to this for you. There we go, that's compared to a nickel SeaWorld at nickel size. Here's another one about the size of her fingernail, bigger than her fingernail. Lots of hail on the far west side. There's that 1604 in military, that construction zone, and those are always apt to flooding. Bigger than penny size here in San Antonio. There's another one around Medical Center. We were just tracking that hail around Medical Center. Thank you for all these photos. That really helps us to get the ground truth. And we also are watching our TransGuide cameras. These are important as well because they show us what it's like out there on the roadways, and that's very shaky just because of the winds. Highway 90 at 36th. And that camera is very high up, but you can see the wind blowing in sheets. And it looks like Port SA just had a wind gust at Kelly Field of 51 miles per hour. That's not too far from where that camera is, and that camera is about to get jostled and knocked off. Yeah, it did. So in that part of the storm, I just saw that report, Kelly Field, 51 mile per hour gust. So let's go down where we have that little notch in this storm. Zooming in, stopping that. Zooming in, that's where we have some of the highest winds.
And
right
that's
here.
One of the reasons why they also extended that warning now to include the southern half of the county.
Yeah, so those of you on the south side, that's where we have some of the highest winds within this storm, right near Kelly Field, Lackland area, Port SA. The hail is still just to the north of there, but the high winds are coming in here toward Mission San Jose, Palo Alto College, Columbia Heights, Mission San Juan, Mission Espada, Mitchell Lake. That's where the highest winds are within this storm. Right in this whole notched area just south, just barely immediately south of downtown, within this severe thunderstorm. So now the wind has ramped up a little bit on the southern edge. Meanwhile, on the northern edge, you also have a little bit of hail to the north of the primary wind threat. So within this storm, looks like the main wind threat south of Highway 90 along and within 410, and then the hail is generally north of Highway 90, but still it's all mixed together in between in that area near downtown. Base velocities, that looks like storm relative. Anyway, yeah, they're showing some higher winds within there where you see that elevated area. See that red, that bright red? That's some of the higher winds within this storm. The higher winds, at least aloft within the storm, that's probably about 2,000 feet high is where we're measuring some of those winds. Nonetheless, this just shows you that Highway 90 and right there is where we have that higher wind potential within the storm, the highest wind potential within the storm. Okay, what about you folks downstream? When is it going to make it to your neighborhood? Let's talk about that. Then we'll get back to the rain and the 3D structure of this storm. So I'll put the warnings back on so you have it. And keep in mind, we do have that flash flood warning and the new severe thunderstorm warning. Southward a little bit. This is until 7:45 p.m. for including Elmendorf, southern Bexar County, and not quite into northern Atascosa County. It cuts off at Bexar County there. Back to the communities that'll be affected by this momentarily. All right. Seguin, 7:58 p.m. I think that's the same timing we had earlier for you in Seguin. We'll start nearest though. Schertz, 7:28. It's headed in right now in Schertz. You can probably feel that wind pick up already. You see the lightning and thunder, and you can smell the rain in the air. Lavernia High School at 7:32 p.m. Santa Clara at 7:40. Seguin at 7:58 is when you can expect the leading edge of this storm. That doesn't mean it's going to be as strong when it makes it to your neighborhood there. However, that's just the onset of time for some rain and even some lightning and thunder. This doesn't look quite the same as it did before. It's going to continue to modify. Bulverde, you're right on the edge of it. Timberwood Park, you're just getting clipped, and you still have a little bit of time left in Timberwood Park. The back edge of this storm, I'm going to tell you when it's going to end for your area, because that can be just as important as when it begins. All right, so if you're getting hit right now, Stone Oak, it's coming to an end at 7:29 momentarily. Castle Hill, 7:34. Johnson High School at 7:34, seeing the end of it. So that gives you an idea. In Stone Oak, you've got about another 10 minutes left, maybe a little bit more, and then the last of it's going to be pushed through. Now back to the 3D structure. We talked about this, especially during the news at 6, and we actually tweaked our technology a little bit earlier today. I'm going to draw bigger. Here, tweaked our technology a little bit earlier today to help us identify the hail within the thunderstorms a little bit more. So this is the 3D view of the storm. And one thing that's really interesting and neat, you can see the overhanging part of the thunderstorm where it's not even raining in parts of the south side of town. You can still see that overhanging section of the thunderstorm. And sometimes there's lightning. There's lightning within there too sometimes. There you go. Sometimes there's lightning within that. But that's that overhanging section of the thunderstorm, twisting it around. You see an idea. And there's a reason there's a slope to it like this, because the radar site is in New Braunfels and the beam goes upward like that. So there is more thunderstorm right here. It's just not being detected by the radar because the radar is not looking really high up, directly up. Anyway, going back to right here where I was saying we tweaked our technology a bit. The red's the heaviest rainfall. So the very heavy rainfall within the storm. Earlier I turned on the lightning for you. See these lightning strikes even out of the overhanging portion of the storm. Turning that off because it's a little bit cluttered. But then we can also filter out some of the most likely hail developing parts of the storm. So check this out, that purple area, that's where we have hail developing. It's not very well defined right now. Maybe a little hard to see at home, but this is within the storm, and this is where we likely have a little bit of hail still developed. And I like to twist it because then it shows you how that hail stretches up and out aloft within the thunderstorm. There you go. It stretches up and around the thunderstorm, and then eventually the updraft can't sustain it anymore and it drops down. But it's falling right near downtown and on the near west side within 410, right near Lackland and just over Lackland. That's generally where the hail is falling, but you see how it stretches high up into the thunderstorm. Get even tighter here, we can just fly right within and we're inside the hail core right now. And this hail core, no, not all of it is damaging, but there could be some of those quarter size chunks of hail that you're looking at from the top down over Clayborough Road within 410 near Memorial High School. So that's why we like to switch over to this to give it that bit of analysis. It's more than just an ooh-ah factor, but it helps us analyze these thunderstorms, and then we can go back to just the general run-of-the-mill. There you go. We're right in the middle of the overhanging part of the thunderstorm there. And another way that we can look at this to analyze that hail section is with a slice. So I'm going to do a slice right here. And then we can move that slice. Oh, I need to turn the slice back on. There we go. And then we can move that slice and you see, oh yeah, see where it stretches upward? Right there, over downtown. Oop, wrong slice. Redrawing the slice. Anyway, that's where it we've got that hail portion. Yes, Mia.
So whenever you are ready for it, Adam,
Yep.
we do have Patty Santos out in Storm Chaser right now, and they are on General McMullen northbound from Highway 90. So that is up and ready whenever you are ready to take that.
All right. So Highway 90 and General McMullen, is that right?
Yes, headed northbound.
All right, headed northbound. Let's check it out. Highway 90 and General McMullen. Okay, so they've got that. Looks like, ooh, yeah, there's water on the roadways there. See, it doesn't take much to come down and cause some ponding of water, and then in those low-lying areas, especially in some of those turnarounds.
Yes, exactly. So I'm going to check KSAT Connect as well and see if we haven't gotten any more just photos of those issues. Because again, yes, the heavy rain rates associated with this storm, definitely something to take seriously. I know it is Thursday evening. It looks like they're going, driving along. Windshield wipers definitely getting a lot of good use out of those here this evening.
And we can find exactly where they are here. They're right over this little purple section. They're right over here, basically. All right, yeah, because that's General McMullen running north-south, and that's not far from where the Missions play. Nelson Wolff Stadium, just off to the west near that arc. But yeah, that's where they are, roughly in this area right there. So what you saw on camera, I know I draw great circles. That's where they are. Okay, back to the warning. We still have these warnings in effect until 7:45 p.m., encompassing just about all of Bexar County, but this warning has shrunk a little bit to exclude Helotes, exclude Leon Valley, exclude SeaWorld. Your threat has passed. Stone Oak, Rogers Ranch, Rim, Leon Springs, Timberwood Park, your threat has passed. But remember, if you're out traveling, flash flood warning until 10 p.m. because of this quick shot of very heavy rain in a very short amount of time. Now that we have those warnings, I'm going to take them off the screen because it can be a little cluttering. Primary hail and wind area is within 410 and just south of 410 in San Antonio. So downtown San Antonio within 410 and all the way southward down to 1604 is our primary area. And these storms, okay, Fiesta Fiesta is officially canceled. Yes, wise decision, I think, just because we could see more development later on. But let's see, yeah, Fiesta, so we just got word, sorry, I'm taking a sec here because we just got word that Fiesta Fiesta is officially canceled, and that is good to know. So our coverage of Fiesta Fiesta will not be ongoing because it has been officially canceled by the city of San Antonio, and the back edge of that storm, that's going to be through the Alamo at 7:44 p.m. And I know maybe the back edge will have been through by 7:44 p.m. near where the Fiesta Fiesta is taking place. But keep in mind, this storm can do a number on the equipment out there. You've got the stage, you've got electronics, you have all that equipment out there and decorations, and they can sometimes, well, be ruined from this kind of thunderstorm activity. So that could play a role in their decision making, but also just for the mere fact that we have these ongoing thunderstorms at the moment moving through downtown in a severe thunderstorm where Kelly Field has clocked a gust of 51 miles per hour.
And Lackland has as well.
Oh, okay, good to know. All right, and I'm going to see what other KSAT Connect photos we have, calling some things up so we can then share with you. Yeah, this is... Okay, let me put that in there. And calling up a few more in the meantime. Yep, that's good to see. Okay, sorry y'all, I'm gonna get these to you in just 1 second. Woody Hill downtown, we got a photo coming in.
And just for an update again, because National Weather Service is continuing to monitor the evolution of this storm, and they're still issuing, of course, that severe thunderstorm warning. So for anyone that might just be hopping on really quickly, yes, we do have this severe thunderstorm warning in place for portions of San Antonio and Bexar County. It's moving southeast at 25 miles per hour, still estimating hail up to the size of quarters to even ping pong ball size, still possible. And of course, yes, some wind gusts upwards of 60 miles per hour.
Yep, this is still moving through. We still have some time with this, and now we've got some KSAT Connect photos to go through. We looked at some of these earlier, so I'm going to go through the ones we've already seen pretty quickly. These were from earlier in the storm. This is a newer one we got from San Antonio, definitely the size of a quarter. And then this is from the flash flooding 1604 in Military, that construction zone. These are definitely the size of a quarter, just at least by eyeballing it near Culebra. And then easily quarter size hail, San Antonio. That could even be $50 size hail, which is slightly bigger, and that's the damage causing size of hail, especially when the ice is so clear. That's harder ice and more durable ice. It doesn't break as easily upon impact. And of course we have this on the backside, beautiful rainbow behind it. Dignowity Hill, part of downtown. This area, this field, I'm assuming is typically dry, but you can see all the water that's been accumulated there. And this is a little branch, a little limb of a tree that was knocked over in a front yard. And okay, this is what I talk about when I say it doesn't take even a severe wind gust to cause issues. These little tents, I mean, you have a 20-mile-per-hour gust and those babies can go airborne. Those little tents that you just, those pop-up beach type tents. And that's what we have there. I'm not sure if that fence damage is new or has been there. And then there's another look at the history of the hail. Back to the thunderstorm, tracking it, put it into motion. It's changed its speed a little bit. There's the evolution over the past hour, starting to shrink in size just a little bit, shrinking in size, but still packing a punch right over the heart of San Antonio, right over downtown, just skirting Shirts at the moment. You're just getting clipped. Cousin Sally, Dave, Derek, you're just getting clipped by this, but still, you could have some of those wind gusts up to 50, 60 miles per hour, and then it stretches up toward Bracken and really falls apart. So along 1604 on the northwest or the northeast side of town, just getting clipped by that storm. Wind crest, it's still moving in. You have the heavy rain. The hail stretching roughly from Monte Vista and the airport almost, Monte Vista then southward all the way through downtown, that purple portion of the storm, all the way down to Lackland Air Force Base, and then some of the wind gusts within here, potentially up to 60 miles per hour, especially on this southern end of the storm that we've been looking at. Good news for Leon Valley, you're done with it. SeaWorld, I know you still have some lightning and thunder in SeaWorld, but you're done with it. And yeah, even in, say, Stone Oak, Hollywood Park, Chavano Park, Leon Springs, Hazardous, you can still hear the thunder, maybe see lightning off in the distance. But the worst of the storm is gone. It's not time to go outside and resume activities. That's why you always wait 30 minutes, right? Like at the pool, blow the whistle, and then 30 minutes after the last rumble of thunder. Because look at this right here. We've got this lightning strike right near Hazardous. That strike, not even in an area where it's raining. And that's a very recent strike, which is why it's flashing, because it just happened. So that's just a good illustration of why you have that 30-minute rule. Give it time for everything to fully clear before you hear more thunder or see more lightning. Severe thunderstorm warning is in effect until 7:35 p.m. This hail section stretches throughout San Antonio. Now I'm going to track this southern edge of the storm as it approaches Elmendorf. This southern edge right here, and that's going to make it to Elmendorf at 7:53 p.m. Calaveras Lake at 7:55, Lavernia at 8:20. So Lavernia, that southern edge of the storm could clip you at 8:20. Obviously in Lavernia, you're starting to get a little bit of rain, and that's going to start picking up very quickly. But we're talking about the part of the storm that's had a history of higher gusts and even some hail. Some loud thunder outside our building. One thing we can watch is the amount of lightning strikes. The number has gone down a little bit, but this is what's important. Those positive strikes can be the most damaging and sometimes even fire-inducing, sometimes to certain structures. Those positive strikes are the really strong ones. When you really feel the thunder, that's usually as a result of a positive strike, because those are the ones that really rattle the glasses in the cupboards. Back to the hail portion of this storm, because there could be even 1.5-inch diameter hail. So
we do have a couple of reports just of hail sizes. So Patty, who's out in the Storm Chaser, they're on the west side. She said that they found some pea-size hail, but over at Lackland near Kelly there was some reports of dime-sized hail to even penny-sized hail.
Okay. which is not quite considered severe, but mixed in with those, you could have some severe sizes. This is 1-inch diameter hail, Leon Valley at 6:54 p.m. These are some of those spotter reports. And then another one, Leon Valley, 1-inch size hail at 6:51 p.m. Here's what looks like a report of flash flooding. Let's see, let's check that out. Flash flooding, 2 miles north, Castle Hills report of street flooding, just street flooding. I don't know the exact location, but some street flooding there. And we're talking 1 mile west of Balcones Heights of some street flooding. I know that's not very specific, defined street flooding, but yes, some street flooding. What we saw on KSAT Connect was definitely more specific with the actual vehicle stuck in the high water. All right, let's turn those off. Let's put this into motion. This is the evolution of the storm. Those of you in Stone Oak, you're in the clear for now. More development is possible and I think likely later on tonight, closer to 10 o'clock. Those of you, Helotes, Gray Forest, Medina Lake, Hondo, Castroville, you're in the clear. Alamo Ranch, you're almost in the clear. The back edge is starting to move through the Alamo Ranch area, and SeaWorld starting to see the last little bits of it move through. China Grove, it just began. You're in the thick of it right now. Windcrest, you're just getting hit with it at the moment. Kirby, it's just, of course, picking up as we speak. And then Elmendorf, it's not far away. This part of the storm by 8 o'clock, probably before 8 o'clock. I know some of it's just north of you, Calaveras Lake area even, or Calaveras Lake here, and Calaveras Lake just getting clipped by some of that part of the storm. So another thing we like to look at here, and I can call this up right now, is, let's see, let's look at the future lightning. All right, this is something we look at, and it's not always the most accurate model, but I want to take this later on tonight to see if it picks up on the development of more thunderstorms as the cold front drops in. As we near 10, 11 o'clock, we'll probably have more thunderstorms developing. And this particular computer model, even through 10:45, is keeping them off to the north. I don't necessarily agree with that 100%. I think we'll actually have a few thunderstorms a little closer to town. And that's why we have these other models to look at. Here we go. Let's check this one. So this computer model right here showing 7 p.m. obviously the heavy thunderstorms moving through, and then we go through time with this, and the thunderstorms taper off after 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, there's a break in the action, and then we get, here we go, see 10 o'clock, this computer model drawing some thunderstorms, redeveloping, especially off to the north as that cold front drops in, and then gradually through 11 p.m. at midnight, a broken line of storms likely as the cold front drops in. Now, we're ahead of the cold front right now, so it's not the front that's lifting the air and acting as the triggering mechanism. We're ahead of the cold front, but the cold front itself should be able to get things going again later on tonight, assuming we have enough instability left over and can regenerate some of that. Otherwise, within this thunderstorm, we've been talking about hail, and one element of that hail, which now is all throughout downtown, 281, the zoo, Alamo Heights, just getting clipped by it here along 281, down toward I-35 interchange downtown. The Pearl, look at all that purple. South Hamilton Street, Lanier High School. And then on the south side here through Highland Park and off I-37, there's some of that hail. Even Mission San Jose getting hit by some of that at the moment. The tops of the thunderstorms are usually an indicator too. We can watch the trend of how tall these storms are. This earlier was at 55,000 feet, and now we're looking at about 50,000 feet in the strongest part of it. Still a hail-producing storm, tall enough to definitely produce the hail within it. It's just not a very confined area of hail. It's more spread out throughout this thunderstorm. And then some high winds within it could be up to 60 miles per hour. And some of those highest winds right now are still look like they're just south of Highway 90, within Highway 90 and 410. Just south of 90 within 410 is where we have some of those higher wind gusts. Yes, it's still going to be blowing and noticeable elsewhere within this storm. We're just talking about the highest gusts where, you know, Lackland 51 mile per hour gusts measured by an anemometer, not an estimate by Doppler radar, an actual in situ measurement, and that's what's important. And going back to the hail, and we're hearing a lot of rumbles of thunder. You might be able to hear it through my microphone even. I don't know, do we have any hail outside right now?
I went and checked a little bit earlier. I'm fixing to go back out and just make sure. But really quickly before I did step out, I just wanted to let you know that they have extended the new warning now.
Okay.
That is going to be moving into northern Wilson County and the far southern reaches of Guadalupe County. So this is going to include areas near Floresville, near Lavernia, Sutherland Springs. This is south of Seguin for this new warning, but this one is going to run through 8:45 p.m. and the National Weather Service is saying that this warning will contain the potential for hail once again up to quarter to ping pong ball size, as well as 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts.
That's been extended, and I can throw that on the map here, and those are for this yellow area, including Floresville, Sutherland Springs. That's the new warning area, and I'll get back to that map in a moment. Now we're going to the 3D volumetric because that gives us that really interesting look within the storm, and we're right within this notched area of the thunderstorm. And I'm going to switch it over to see where the hail is being developed. But first, I like to do a little kind of a 180 or 360 around the storm. And then right now, I'm going to switch it over, and right within this area, I do think in the center part of your screen, you're going to notice the hail. There it is, right there. That's the hail making part of this thunderstorm. It's not very well defined. This isn't like one of those big supercells where you see a huge arcing plume of the purple and white, but nonetheless, you still do have that hail within higher up in the clouds, and then also falling straight to the ground. And we can go right to where it's falling straight to the ground. First of all, this is that overhead look of the purple, okay? Overhead look at the hail, tilt it, get farther in, and now we're within the hail, within this thunderstorm. And this is kind of important because it shows you just how widespread the hail is. It's not just in one neighborhood. It's scattered all around. You see Mission San Jose, Mission San Juan, moving toward Mission Espada. That's that hail chunk. It even grew a little bit taller. This is all the hail up in the cloud, up in the thunderstorm. And this is the hail, as you can see, it's suspended, twisting it around, trying not to move too fast. Don't want to make anybody too dizzy and nauseous here, including myself included. But within this purple area, that's the hail producing section of the storm. And this is where it's falling. Right here, we're going to fly right through the hail, right down into 410 and Ashley Street, near Mission San Juan, South Ansley Street as well, and South Formosa Boulevard. So Roosevelt Avenue and South Flores Street, you're getting hit by this hail core. We can fly out of the hail core and see how high it suspends up into the clouds. And there you have it, suspended up over San Antonio, especially along the south side of town now. Even a little bit there, we're going to go in at an angle, a bit of an angle. Pretend you're driving back to downtown from the coast and you're going up I-37. That's the direction we're heading right now. So we're going to pass the convention center and get into this hail portion of the storm. And this is just west of I-10, south of Jefferson High School. That's where the hail is right now. Culebra Road, Northwest 19th, between Culebra and West Commerce, basically, between Culebra and West Commerce. That's where we have the main hail part. Do we have any outside now?
We do not. Okay. I just went and checked. We have some very heavy raindrops and some very large raindrops, but nothing more than that.
Nothing more than that. That's a good thing.
But I do want to mention, Adam, since we have seen a couple more reports coming into our chat that we have here with the National Weather Service, San Antonio Fire Department is reporting some water rescues at 410 and Evers Road and 410 and Bandera Road. And I also do want to mention that, yes, Patty is out in the Storm Chaser. She was saying that there were also some issues that were being reported on I-10 westbound near Fresno.
Good to know. So we're having those issues, flash flooding issues with this because the rain is coming together and coming down so hard. Oh, now I hear a little bit of hail out there. outside of our studios. That's not much. Over the years now, I've honestly calibrated my ears to basically know the size of hail that's falling. And that doesn't sound very big. We're not far from the Pearl. Actually, we're right across the street from Central Catholic High School. That's where KSAT's located. Trying to get some of these pictures to load. There's more hail photos. And we'll go through some of these. Mia, if you just want to call some of these other ones up, just something that illustrates what's going on out there. I mean, even on the back side of it, that's nice.
Right.
There's a bit of a break. However, I'm already seeing some activation along the cold front north of town that's going to be headed our way. So this is turning that little turn southward. So Seguin, it looks like this is going to just miss you. Remember when I timed it out earlier and I said, assuming it stays on track in its current position, then it would make it to your neighborhood at X time. Well, it does look like it's going to skip Geronimo, just barely squeeze past Seguin, and still it's just clipping shirts. But now it's headed towards Sutherland Springs, Lavernia, Elmendorf, Floresville. This is that severe thunderstorm warning Mia was talking about just a little bit ago. That's in effect until 8:45 p.m. for parts of Wilson County, including Poth, Floresville, and just cutting off right near Stockdale. But this also includes Lavernia and Sutherland Springs, as it's just moving into Lavernia, Calaveras Lake, Elmendorf. It's just beginning. Wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour with this, and hail potentially the size of a quarter to a ping pong ball size hail. And now that this has kind of made that little turn, let's watch the animation. Or at least it's developed southward a little bit, and the north side has dissipated and the south side has developed more in its movement. Let's do this for you. Let's do this heavy rain. That makes it to Floresville at 8:16 p.m., Poth 8:27 p.m., Karn City at 8:58 p.m. Elmendorf, it's on your doorstep. It's moving in right now. We know that. But Poth 8:27, Karn City 8:58, assuming that same track into trajectory and speed. The yellow is that severe thunderstorm warning. Those of you in far southern Guadalupe County, you are included. So even around New Berlin, you're included within that severe thunderstorm warning. 123 within the southern 5 miles of Guadalupe County, you're included within that warning. But this is that severe storm that could have those gusts up to 60 miles per hour and even some of the larger hail. To show you a bit of a history of the hail within this storm, it's been a little unique and scattered throughout the thunderstorm. But right now, this is where some of the biggest hail would be. And our product's not really even showing it. So I need to switch over to the hail swath and the hail track. And this is where the hail has been. Look at this over the past hour, turning off the lightning. That's where the hail track has been. Look at that. Look how wide that hail swath has been. It started near Medina Lake, then it moved into Bexar County, Hazardous, Leon Springs, all the way to 281 and 37, about, 281, yeah, near the zoo there, just north of downtown, immediately north of downtown. This was sorry about that. This was the hail producing part of the thunderstorm. And the brighter pink is the smaller hail. The darker, the purples, that's the bigger hail that was associated with this. And the biggest so far is about the size of a dollar coin. Right? That's about 1.25 inches in diameter. Definitely damage causing, especially the clearer the ice. The clear iced hail is going to be tougher to break upon impact. So that's usually the harder hailstones and can be more damaging. And so the size can be relative depending on type of formation of that hail. But anyway, that's that hail swath as we see it. Looking at it right now, there is some hail within this purple area. And this is just kind of a general vague looking, at the purple area. But this is the thunderstorm. And I don't see as much in the internal structure in terms of widespread hail, but there still is some of that here, particularly right along 181. Right along 181 from Mission San Juan to I-37, Mission Espada toward Calaveras Lake. Probably the largest hail that this storm currently has is right there, right around 410, or I should say 1604, 10 to almost approaching 1604, but 410 and 37. And then up in Alamo Heights, you still have some of that activity. It's not going to last much longer. If you're near the airport, Alamo Heights, Monte Vista, Terrell Hills, it's not going to last much longer. You're still in the thick of it, and it's going to come down pretty hard for a little while longer, but it's not going to be as long. You're going to get a nice break here, but yeah, you're looking at about, well, till just after 8 o'clock is when you can expect the back edge to move through Alamo Heights and the 281 area. There's still some of that extending southwestward that's not necessarily as severe right here. That's towards Somerset. That's not, and even the city of Atascosa, that's not quite as severe. The chunkiest part of the storm, the strongest part, is right now from Windcrest toward Kirby to downtown, all the way to the south side, southeast side to Elmendorf, and then stretching or moving into Wilson County. Speaking of moving into, going to put it in motion over the past hour so you can see where it's headed. That turn or development southward has been noticed, and it's shrunk in size a little bit. And there's probably not as much lightning with it right now as there has been previously with this thunderstorm. But I'm going to zoom out because I want to show you something else. We've been talking about that cold front. Aha! We'll get a break from this storm, and then look what's developing off to the north along that front. Already Gillespie County, Kerrville, you can probably see the lightning. I know you can see the lightning off in the distance. And Kerrville, you already had a strong thunderstorm with large hail just east of downtown Kerrville. But this cold front is slowly dropping southward and should reignite some thunderstorms as we go through the night. And there could be some more severe weather. Of course, we'll be here to monitor that. But right now, the severe weather is just moving through Bexar County, moving it's out of Leon Valley. You're good. You're in the clear. We still have the flash flood warning and some issues on the roadways. Alamo Heights, you're about to get the backside of this. Lackland, you're still in the thick of the rain at the moment. The heaviest part of the storm has moved out of the Lackland area, but you're still getting some of that rain. And in terms of when it's actually going to stop, let's check that out, okay? And then we're going to take a look at how much rain has fallen and why we have those flash flood warnings that we do have in place. Let's give it that. All right, Alamo Heights, 8:01 p.m. Yeah, right after 8 o'clock. 8:01 p.m. Alamo Heights, that's the end of the storm. It's basically the backside of it. The Pearl, 8:03, Convention Center, 8:05. So that's in the heart of downtown when the back edge of it would have been through. So that's the back edge of the storm. But the front edge, that's just moving into Elmendorf, and even a lightning strike closer to Floresville, that's still headed your way. And going back to our computer model here, okay, watch this. I'm going to turn this off. See how it initializes. It's okay for a computer model, not terrible, right? I mean, considering modeling, that's actually pretty good. I know viewer expectations can be higher than what we can provide, but this is pretty good. Still shows a little bit of activity at 9 o'clock. That would have to be redevelopment. I'm not so sure about that. However, what I'm focusing on is that potential line off to the north of us and how that could develop as it moves in. Look at 11 p.m. and those thunderstorms, 11 p.m. to midnight on the north side of San Antonio. And then that cold front is so slow that they can just keep developing along that front and even training. They can move parallel along that boundary, follow each other, and when those storms follow each other, it just exacerbates the potential for flash flooding. So that could be another issue into the night. Not that everybody's gonna be traveling at midnight, but some potential issues on the roadways, especially in those construction zones. All right, this thunderstorm, severe thunderstorm, that warning that we have is until 8:45 p.m. Elmendorf, Lavernia, Sutherland Springs, Windcrest, you're still in it, but you're almost on the backside. Downtown San Antonio, it's getting better. Leon Valley, you're done. Lackland, it's starting to improve. McDonough, starting to improve. But you still have some of that rain. Most of the hail is right along I-37 and 410. This area right here, near the Missions, near San Juan, near Espada. That part of the river, the nice paved trail right there that goes near some of those missions. And it's that general area where we have the hail at the moment. Most of the hail, I should say. There you go. LeMay Road, Mission San Juan, Southeast Military is right here as it crosses I-37. So that area, Southeast Military and I-37, and that just changed on us. And now it's headed toward Hilltop. So this area of scattered hail, that's headed toward Hilltop, and that's right along 181. And we know where 181 takes you, right to Poth, right to Floresville, right? And so this part of the storm is headed that way and even toward Elmendorf between 181 and Highway 37. So let's track just that hail portion of the storm. Just this little area right here. Soon, I have to widen out the view a little bit. Sorry about that. Let's redo that, okay? That little hail producing part of the storm. Whoop. All right, come on, computer, help me out here. There you go. Sometimes if you talk nice to it, it treats you better. All right, so that hail producing part would make it to Floresville at 8:39. 8:39, that hail producing part of the storm, assuming it stays intact, is still living and breathing and still making hail. Floresville would be 8:39 p.m. Poth, 8:53 p.m. Poth just outside of the warned area. However, the warned area is this yellow part of the thunderstorm. And I'm going to turn that off because it gets a little distracting, in my opinion. It gets a little distracting there. So I like to turn off the warnings. There we go. There goes the warnings. That can be a little distracting. I'm going to go back to our actual rainfall totals because this is what's leading to some of the flash flooding. And widening out the picture, a lot of you not getting hit by rain outside this area where you see the gray, which is the ground. The green and yellow, especially the yellow, that's where we have the heaviest rain. And keep in mind, right here, this is the part where we're most drought stricken in our area. So it's good to see this. And this is right along part of the recharge zone. But you get near Pipe Creek, and I'm just going to take you from Pipe Creek southeastward along 16 Bandera Road. Pipe Creek, here you have it. Near Pipe Creek, boom, 2.7, even higher amounts, 3.2 inches, right along Bandera Road, 3.2 inches, right on the county line. That's impressive rainfall in a pretty short amount of time. And then notice downtown and within 410, from the medical center all the way downtown, this yellow and orange area, that's the highest rainfall amounts. Let's get just south of Jefferson High School, okay? This is just west of I-10 on Calabria Road. So west of I-10, Calabria Road, northwest 25th Street, Bandera and Calabria, 3.1 inches of rain, 3.4. Expect, Woodlawn Lake area, 3 inches of rain. So expect some issues on the roads as a result of that, especially if some of the storm drains get clogged up from leaves and debris and unfortunately trash sometimes too. Especially the longer the gap between these heavy rainfall events, the more trash you get built up and the more debris you get built up. But that's how much rain has fallen so far. So this has already dropped several inches of rain, about 3 inches of rain in some locations.
Yeah, and I do have a couple of updates just from some people who have been sending in reports of road conditions. One being meteorologist Justin Horn. He was saying that there was a car that was stuck in water reportedly at 1604 and Northwest Military turnaround.
I think that's that pickup.
That probably was that photo then. And then also do have some issues reported. Vance Jackson exit off of I-10 eastbound. Seeing some major water buildup and some issues out there for folks on the roadways. And
by the way, on the backside of this storm, you could get a really nice rainbow. This is a good rainbow making weather. Yeah, you want to go through some of these photos? Absolutely. So yes, thank you to everyone who has been sending in photos to KSAT Connect. It really helps us get that ground truth to what is actually happening with these thunderstorms. We can see what's going on with the radar, get an idea, but it's really your reports and viewer reports that help us understand exactly what is going on. So this was sent in earlier near the Misty Oaks and Leon Valley area. You can see quarter to even pea-size hail. Also a lot of leaves, even a few twigs that were reportedly down there just with the hail. This also here in San Antonio, some quarter-size hail. Look at this photo. This is out in Converse. Had some nice crawling lightning strikes there. Made for a cool view. And yes, Adam was mentioning that we have seen some rainbow photos as well. I'll work on getting some of those called up here to KSAT Connect.
connect. This is on the west side, dime-sized hail, also near downtown. One of our awesome engineers did step outside a little bit ago when the heaviest part of that storm was moving through the downtown area and said that yes, we also did see some pea to dime-sized hail here at KSAT as well. This photo, you can probably tell where this was taken just from looking at it. This was at SAT, San Antonio Airport, at about 7:40 p.m. About 20 minutes ago. Acorn-sized hail there, and then we've got a nice lightning photo as well. Castle Hill, seeing a little bit of pea to dime-sized hail reported near Culebra and 36. Some additional photos of hail. So again, thank you to everybody who is sending this in safely. Of course, it really does help us get a really good idea of what is actually happening with these storms when they move through San Antonio.
And we just got word that Fiesta Carnival, which is at the Alamo Dome, usually on those grounds, that has been canceled for the rest of the night.
Okay.
So Fiesta Fiesta, which, we were supposed to be kicking off the fun several minutes ago, and, hey, I was supposed to be out there as well, but we've got some important weather to talk about. And that's what that's unfortunately the situation. But remember, we do need this rainfall. So this is at least some good rain. I just don't like when it comes at a cost. And keep in mind, if you got hit by hail today and you have damage, you need to, take photos of it first of all, because the metadata in your photos, you can tell what time, what day, the date, and the time the photo was taken. You can know exactly. Otherwise, write down the day, the date, and the time that it hit, because we don't always have the records of exactly where hail hit and when, especially for various neighborhoods. So if it hit you, it's always good just to take some photos, because then that's in your metadata, but also to write it down. Right now, most of the hail within this storm is along 181 and Highway 37, or near 410. That's where most of the hail is, and this is headed southeastward toward Floresville. I'm going to redraw our 3D look at this storm and get that and look a little bit more at this structure. We've been watching that little notched area within the storm just as more of a benchmark than anything. And you can get down into the overhanging part of the thunderstorm, and that's just south of Elmendorf. But within here, which is the tallest part of the storm, and I can show you that, I can show you how tall it is by looking at this, the cross section. See how we have the marks there? That's 50,000 feet, so it should be about 50,000 feet. 45 to 50, probably 45,000 feet is what that is, 45,000 feet, because we're looking at a bit of an angle. So about 45,000 feet is how high it is. And then we look at the actual structure of it, switch it over, and the purple is the hail suspended within the storm, but also fallen down a little bit. This purple part, that's suspended. See, there's Browning Lake, Elmendorf, Calaveras Lake. Elmendorf, this is basically headed straight for you. So this hail portion of the storm headed straight for Elmendorf. I can move to the other side so you can see it and move around it a little bit. Get rid of the other stuff on the banner. There you go. And you can see it better. So sometimes you can see it suspended up in the air, arcing across the thunderstorm, arcing up and around. This is more now just a confined area within the thunderstorm of the hail making part. So this red is that heavy rain and maybe some small hail, but the more noticeable hail, that's right here in this purple section that, if you want to look at it from the top down, is right near Hilltop and just outside of Loop 410. Sounds like one of our advertisements, just outside of Loop 410. That's right here. So we're looking down on it, the hail part of the storm, and now we're flying into it. And this is exactly where the hail is being made, being made actually up and down. So these hailstones travel up and down within the storm. And if you were to cut a hailstone in half, you see the amount of rings it has. It's like a tree. That tells you how many cycles it went up and down within the thunderstorm. So it kind of gives you an idea of that. Anyway, we can also get a slightly different three-dimensional view of this, of that hail that's headed toward Elmendorf, by slicing it. And we'll slice this way and get rid of that. And this shows some of those same colors as well. There you go, moving through the storm, right near Hilltop, especially where we get those black colors in it. The potential for some of the, more likely to be damage-causing hail, more apt to be causing damage, that type of hail. But we're just isolating the hail within this thunderstorm. And notice how really that's the only part of it that really has the potential to be really knocking some larger hail down to the ground and that potentially damaging sized hail. So that's the part of the storm. Obviously, we're keeping the closest eye on. I'm going to go back to the regular radar so you can all get an idea of what it just looks like. Whoop, there it is. Looks at regularly. Let's go home. When in doubt, go home. That's what Mom always said. When in doubt, go home, right? Anyway, she didn't say that. Okay, here are those warnings. Now it's moving toward Floresville. You got that rain. We were talking about the timing into Floresville. It's not quite there yet. The hail producing part is just near Elmendorf, and it shrunk a little bit. So that's good to see. The main hail producing part has shrunk, but it could still have some winds, 50 to 60 miles per hour. Selma, you're seeing it, wind crest. You're on the back edge of it right now. Mia.
And just talking about that exact area that you were referencing, 37 towards 410. If we still do have the Chaser feed, we can also take that. That's where Patty and them, they're southbound on 37. There you go. Headed right towards that 410 area.
Oh, good. Let's stick with this for a little bit. I want to, because they're headed south down 37.
Yes, 37.
Toward 410. So toward Hilltop, where we were talking about. If they kept going, they'd take an exit to Elmendorf later on, or 181 as well, near Elmendorf.
See some cars there with their hazards on, obviously being very careful out there on the roads.
If you're going to just put your hazards on and drive, just pull over and get off the road. Just one of those things, rather than everybody watch out for me. It's probably just best to then, if you don't feel comfortable, to just roll off the side of the, don't roll off, but go safely into a place where you can just wait out the storm, because this will be passing and we can time out the back edge of the storm. But so clearly coming down hard and the roads are covered in the rain. And this is a severe thunderstorm, but I do think it's slowly starting to lose a little bit of its punch, not packing as much of a punch as it did earlier. Nonetheless, can still have pockets of damage associated with it. Okay, let's go back to the radar, and if we see anything more in that shot, control room, just pop it up. Marty, you can just pop it up if you see something good in there. Otherwise, I-35, we're not forgetting you, Divine. It's not severe. Somerset, Atascosa, not severe. That's just some heavy rain, a little bit of lightning near Divine. That's not severe. The back edge, that has moved out of downtown basically right now, getting rid of some of that clutter. Most of it has moved out of downtown. We're starting to see this really break up. Castle Hills all the way around 410 to Highway 90. You're in the clear. 281 north of downtown, you're in the clear. 1604 north side of town, you're in the clear. It's just still some heavy rain around Selma towards Santa Clara and Marion. And that's just going to be clipping Santa Clara and Marion. Oh, sorry about that. That's going to be clipping. And I do want to point out, I believe there was a severe thunderstorm warning in Gillespie County as well, recently issued. There we go. See that fresh development right there? That's not bats, that's thunderstorm. The bats come out right there. This is shower and thunderstorm right approaching Marion, and if that keeps going eastward, you could get hit Seguin, but most of this has turned south of Seguin. We'll watch for some of that development eastward on the north side of the main storm, but the main storm is down here moving through Elmendorf.
And just in from the National Weather Service, they are canceling this severe thunderstorm warning.
It's not packing the same punch that it was packing earlier. So with that notice, we'll be able to get off air here in a little bit, but I know we would be having Fiesta Fiesta right now. So I can keep going if you need me to, control room, and just keep covering this for a little while. I did mention that Gillespie County because the cold front off to the north is reactivating severe thunderstorms. So this is along the cold front that's dropping in. This slow poke of a cold front right here. That's the cold front, and it's slowly dropping southward. And that, although we're getting a break right now, doesn't mean we're done, okay? Because this activity should continue to develop as that cold front drops southward. We've got the Gillespie County severe thunderstorm warning that includes Fredericksburg until 9 p.m. And that could be 1-inch diameter hail, maybe slightly larger.
They even said just ping pong ball possible
Ping pong,
with that,
so,
exactly what
yeah,
that
that's
one.
even a little bit larger than, so ping pong ball 1 1/4 size hail, diameter hail. But the point is that activating as it drops southward into San Antonio. Before we sign off, I want to always look at this because whenever you have a lot of lightning, you get power outages. Unfortunately, it's just a side effect of lightning. And this is not straight CPS data. So if you work for CPS, don't hold me accountable for these exact numbers. We'll get the update for the night beat from CPS, but 42,000 customers reportedly without power. 42,000 customers in Bexar County without power. And we get to Medina County, 400 customers without power. There's the CPS. And look at that, 42,766. So I would say our technology is pretty good and pretty spot on, but there you have it. And that's the latest from CPS, 42,766 customers without power, and a lot of them there on the west side of town and just on the northwest side of town. Really quickly, back to the graphics. I want to help you guys through the rest of the night. We'll still have that threat through 2 a.m. Through 2 a.m. we have a thunderstorm threat. This is just one computer model. I'm going to skip past it because we have got a better update that we'll share with you on the night beat, and probably more activity developing then. Tomorrow, generally dry and okay. A decent amount of sunshine. See that 20% chance, the off chance of a few thunder showers or just showers, nothing severe popping up through noon. And then sunny and 85 in the afternoon with low humidity. Now get ready for some other big changes. Saturday, sunny, 82, low humidity, beautiful. But Saturday night, rain chances increasing significantly. And then throughout the day on Sunday, we are expecting some widespread areas of rain and much cooler temperatures with highs in the 60s. I mean, we're talking upper 60s by Sunday. And we'll leave you with this. How about we'll sign off air? I don't know if Marty, if you had one more thing to show. No, never mind. Marty didn't. We'll leave you with this. It's good. Whenever you get the low angle sun, when the sun is dropping, but before it's set, and you have rain moving around the area, it's good rainbow making weather. So we'll leave you with that. The severe threat has passed for now, but we're not out of the woods. That's not going to be until closer to 2 a.m. or even later for some folks. Thanks for joining us.